Welcome back to the Business Enhancement Series presented by Efficiency United and Semco Energy Gas Company. In this next section, we're going to talk about financial strategies to close deals. Being able to effectively leverage energy efficiency strategies, the savings and incentives, is important when helping your customer understand the different ways to acquire the money to do the projects you're working on. There are several steps that you as the contractor can include when approaching a project with a customer. The audit or the assessment is the first step. The average homeowner spends close to $1,300 per year on utility bills. Understanding the project costs and benefits are important. They may vary a little from customer to customer. An energy-efficient home is cost-effective. As the contractor, you can save the homeowner 10 to 50% on their bills by adding insulation, high-efficiency heating and cooling systems, and even by collaborating with other contractors, let's say to add windows. The bottom line impact on an average U.S. household is $1,300 minus between $130 all the way to $1,300 to $650. It's communicating those financial benefits that can often be the difference between a sale and no sale. So communicating those benefits, you're trying to find the highest value targets to create the hook to capture their attention, keeping in mind that you'll be helping them. You have to map the decision-making chain, assess each stakeholder's motivation, concisely communicate value, blend emotions with logic to neutralize objections, use math, not myths, to engage the client and get their buy-in, and perform in ways to achieve results. It's important to connect the dots when approaching prospects, suspects, and customers when selling energy efficiency projects. According to Mark Jewell in his book, Selling Energy, he states that these are the necessary steps to becoming efficiency sales ninjas. So it's more than just a good idea. In Mark Jewell's masterpiece, he goes on to make an important point. The point is that the combination of revelation and repetition transforms ordinary salespeople into lifelong efficiency sales professionals. When he says successful people do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. Efficiency United highly recommends his online Jewell Insights, his book, and his workshops. We have had boots on the ground working in energy efficiency for many years, and tools like his are extremely valuable to keep you on track. So there are three categories of benefits for energy efficiency projects. We all understand what utility costs are, and there are many software solutions and analysis tools to help us evaluate the ROI or other financial metrics. The Department of Energy has tools. Energy Star Portfolio Manager is a tool. Gnosis has a tool, and financing programs like PACE and NECA ECAP have great tools and assistance with determining the math based on audit results and recommendations. Some benefits are non-financial, for example, improved public relations or improved comfort, or even reduced glare with a new lighting system. The non-utility cost financials apply to things like this on the next slide. So assume your client has an average employee salary of $40,000 per year and sits in a 1,000 square foot room that accommodates 5 people. That's 200 square foot per person, right? If you take the salary of $40,000 and divide it by 200 square feet that each person occupies, it comes out to $200 per square foot in payroll. If the client's average cost of utilities is $2 per square foot, then what do you suppose the CFO is focused on, payroll or utility costs? Payroll is 100 times the cost of utilities per employee, but if you increase the productivity of each of the employees by 1% per day, which is about an additional 5 to 6 minutes by implementing the energy conservation measure, it has a much bigger impact on the dollars. So when you're putting together your proposals, it's a good idea to separate costs and benefits. Cost of the PP&E, plant, property, and equipment. The cost of engineering and the design, that's cash paid to third parties. Labor costs for installation. Disposal of old equipment. You may be able to add money back in if you can get scrap value. And of course, the cost of downtime while doing the installation. But then the benefits, utility incentives, grants, rebates, potential certifications, non-financial benefits, and opportunity costs, meaning the cost of not doing the project. So then it's time to successfully sell your energy efficiency model. First, you have to develop a profile for your ideal prospect, and then create a template for collecting that information. Define an analysis tool to evaluate energy conservation measures or collaborate with an auditor, finance company, or a consultant. Then map out and define who is the decision maker and what is their main pain points. Then you'll do some research. You'll network with people in your community, obtain case studies that'll include successful incentives and implementation, send a handwritten thank you note, and call a previous customer and ask them why they bought you. That seems like a lot of steps, doesn't it? But each step is important for furthering the sale and making future sales. Each step is as important as the last, and if you skip steps, you might pay for it in the end. Now some best practices. Henry Ford said, paying attention to simple little things that most men neglect makes a few men rich. Paying attention to simple little things that most men neglect makes a few men rich. Think about it. Think about the little things and imagine how this statement impacts your business. First, establish goals for your business. You can't get what you want till you know what you want, right? Joe Jackson said it. Take the time to develop a written mission statement. If you want to pause the video, do it now. But it's important to know where your business is going and where you want it to go. Without a mission statement, those may be two different answers. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are your threats? We call this a SWOT analysis. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, Aristotle said. So write down your strengths. What do you do better than your competition? What do you do well? What don't you do as well? What are some opportunities for your business to grow? And what are some of the threats against your business? Then you can identify what those weaknesses and the threats are and how you might improve those. Kate Moss said, I've made some of the best friends I've got in this business. Well, know who they are. Know your allies. Who are they? How will you meet them? What products or services do they offer that augment your own? What do you have to offer them? And what can your partnership look like? Take the time to map these out. If you have them now, how can you capitalize more on them? If you don't, how can you make those connections? Do businesses like plumbing or electrical, windows, roofing make sense as potential allies to your business? One of the great business minds, Lee Iacocca, said, in the end, all business operations can be reduced to 3 words: people, products, and profit. Unless you've got a good team, you can't do much with the other 2. So it's important to motivate your staff for excellence. Trust your employees to do their jobs. Invest in your employees' continued education. Provide opportunities for advancement. Provide opportunities for sustainable, meaningful impact, and make happiness a priority and have fun. So think about how you're motivating your staff. It's not always about financial motivation, although that can be very effective, but you've got to constantly be evaluating the strengths and weaknesses, threats and opportunities even within your own staff. Think about your model and how that might be improved. What about generating leads? Will Rogers said, get someone else to blow your horn and the sound will carry twice as far. You can talk about yourself all you want, but it often means a lot more coming from somebody else. Some ways to generate more leads, of course, getting found on the internet, making sure you've got a good website and search engine optimization and Google paid keywords. You could provide relevant, important, and interesting information online that creates expertise and drives people to you because you're the expert in your field. You can utilize multi-channel messaging strategies, social media, direct mail, TV and radio, of course, networking. And it's important to know when you're networking, it's not just about finding business for you. It's about using the opportunity to find mutually beneficial situations for you and the person you're networking with. A good networker will give as much as he'll take. And what do you do when you get the leads? Arthur Nielsen said the price of light is less than the cost of darkness. Meaning, yeah, you might have to pay something to turn the lights on, but not having the light on costs far more. So you need to take your leads, rate and prioritize them, track them. Make sure your sales force has them in a timely manner. Don't hold on to them. Integrate the information from all your lead generation channels. Don't print off emails and hand one thing and then have another lead come in somewhere else. It's good to have those all in a system. A CRM like Salesforce can definitely help track those leads. Establish a documented, closed-loop process to follow up on every one. You don't want to leave business on the table or have business just find their way elsewhere because you didn't have the time to properly follow up on the lead. And it's important to always review your processes. Review your database. Make sure you're not leaving those stones unturned. Businessman Jeff Bezos from Amazon is quoted to say, "We see our customers as invited guests to a party, and we're the hosts. It's our job every day to make every important aspect of the customer experience a little better." So you've got to know your customer and what they want. Where are they located? How are you going to reach them? What are their challenges, goals, and objectives? What are their decision criteria? What things influence them making decisions? What will exceed their experiences? So how can you do it better than the people who've done the work before them? So price for profitability. Yes, you need to be profitable, but you also need to make sure that you're giving the customer the best experience. It's not always about being the cheapest. You've got to know your market, know your customer, know your cost structure, and then test and adjust that and balance it to make sure you stay profitable at the same time that your customers are staying happy. Customers buy on price because they can't find extraordinary quality, convenience, and service and value. Well, make that not true. Give them all those things. If price is the only thing they're left to compare, then that's the easiest one to make a decision on. That doesn't mean you should be the cheapest, and that leads into managing your company's reputation. Making sure that what you stand for is the message that's conveyed into the community. You should establish through your mission statement, the work you do, what you'd like your reputation to be, and work toward that goal. A bad reputation is pretty hard to fix. Benjamin Franklin said, "Glass, china, and reputation are easily cracked and never well mended." So make sure you align your reputation goals with your business goals. Emphasize the relevant benefits of those goals that your company provides, and establish a strong and positive presence in the industry, in the community, and on the internet. Is perception reality in your case? Are there things that you're doing that can be improved to improve your reputation? Do you have a bad reputation in certain areas or with certain types of customers? Knowing these and addressing them is the key to rebuilding a negative reputation. And that means you have to continuously improve. It'll never be perfect. And what seems perfect now may not be perfect tomorrow. You have to start with a plan, assign accountability to people, involve all the stakeholders that you can, be willing to accept feedback, and then evaluate and communicate results so that you can correct your course if necessary. Jack Welch said, "I am convinced that if the rate of change inside an organization is less than the rate of change outside the organization, the end is in sight." Which means as the industry changes, you need to change even if you were doing it perfectly for any number of years. Your whole career, in fact. The ability to change is the ability to improve and grow. Sometimes you just need to disconnect and enjoy your own company. You could probably say that line 50 different ways. Work smarter, not harder. Don't be a workaholic. But it's important to put things into perspective and run a successful company, not have the company run your life. So look at your schedule. Eliminate the things that don't bring you closer to your goals and use that for your free time. Put blank spaces in your calendar for you. Make sure you set time to unplug, to go on vacations, and delegate the tasks that you can so that you can concentrate on what's important. And always remember, energy efficiency is here to stay, and the only way for Efficiency United trade allies to go is up. Thank you for taking the time to participate in the Business Enhancement Series, presented by Efficiency United and Semco Energy Gas Company.